And we're live.
Hey everybody, welcome to AKA Geeks. This is our The Walking Dead After Show. I'm Sean. With me I have Lynn.
What's up, everybody?
So this episode, episode 4 of season 8 is titled Some Guy. And that some guy is Ezekiel, right, Lynn? It's a very Ezekiel-centric episode. Let me review what it was about a bit. A new weapon in the Savior arsenal proves to be a giant hurdle as fighting continues between Rick's forces and those of the Saviors. That giant weapon was the 50 cal, right? We talked a little bit about that last week.
Yep.
But let's get back to it. This episode, Ezekiel-centric. Few things happen in this episode. What did you like from this episode? What did you, or maybe just made you sad, but was still a good scene in the episode?
I can't talk about what made me sad because we're not there yet.
All right.
But
so let's start off then.
I like these profile episodes that they're doing a lot more than just like bam, 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 bam. This basically slows things down and lets you absorb each individual or group of people that they're focusing on a little bit better. And so major props to the writers of the first 4 episodes, because that's each episode has been that profile episodes. But
and we're still this is like day one day, you know.
Yeah, within one day. Well, I want to say within a couple hours.
Yeah, we're still that's what I mean. But I'm saying we haven't even passed one day yet in this season. So.
Yeah. But I every time I hear him, I keep waiting for him to ask for Beast Boy or Robin, because since he's the voice of Cyborg for the Teen Titans, I can never get that out of my head. Every time he says something that hints with a smile, like when he was doing the speech about "and yet I smile," I kept thinking like Beast Boy, pizza, and yet I smile.
I saw someone tweet on that, and they were complaining about another episode starting with an Ezekiel speech, and I was like, it's not that they chose to do it. They're just picking up where they left off.
Yeah.
Last episode.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, this whole season we've got to know King Ezekiel a lot, I think, and it's been good because we've been getting to know the kingdom more and some of the things that these people in the kingdom have, like the good qualities about them. So they started off by showing us stuff with him getting ready before the battle and talking to Carol. Prior.
I love that because the whole point of the beginning was not about him. It was about the people who covered him.
Yeah. And
gave their lives for him.
Yeah.
Because you saw each of them doing a different thing. Granted, most people will focus on Ezekiel.
Yeah.
But that's what I meant. I love the profile of each of the characters that they've been doing lately with the last couple episodes, and that was prime example was that the first 5 minutes is them just pre-battle, and then you lead right up into, the dead bodies.
Yeah, that I really liked how this episode started. I liked what they did with that, picking up where we left off last episode with the bodies being shot at by the 50 cal. That was like a terrible, like a really good bad scene, like in the sense like, oh man, that sucked, like to see what he was dealing with, like all these people that he loved and cared for, regardless of his facade that he puts on, he still loves and cares for them as a person, and they're friends with him, and he's crawling over them and trying to get away. Oh man, it sucked. I was like, this sucks. And then obviously you're asking yourself, all right, so Carol's nowhere to be seen. They haven't even hinted at her. I'm assuming she ran for the building. And Jerry is nowhere to be seen as well. He's somewhere around here, and they're gonna tease us with something until Jerry reappears in whichever form he reappears at.
Yeah.
I liked what Carol did in this episode. Before we go too far into the episode with the other stuff, but what Carol did, did more badass Carol stuff. Badass Carol stuff.
Did you know I had to rewatch that scene where she goes to hide, and the guys are coming through with the caliber ammo and the gun, and because the first time I saw it, I didn't think she was up on the roof. I actually thought she was still in between those boxes, and she just sprayed them. But then when I looked at it again and she's in the ceiling, I'm like, oh, wait, what? That's awesome.
Yeah, it was weird. Like the first time I saw it as well, I was like, where the heck did she shoot from? How did she get that angle to get all of them from right there in between?
Yeah.
And then replaying it back, I was like, oh, I see. But it took me a second to get it. I think they did I don't know if they messed up or they should have done a little bit more. But the last guy in the frame, on the far right side of the frame, you didn't see any bullets or blood or anything. So
no, you saw the couple shirt. I
just saw him go like that, and I was like, oh. Like,
if you look at it,
I thought I was like, okay, that's freaking awesome. Good job, Carol. You're badass.
Yeah.
And doing what needs to get done. And so like in tune with the best possible thing to do at the moment. Like her fight or flight response to things is freaking off the charts right now. She's like figuring out what to do strategy-wise.
She's a phenomenal tactician. Like when the saviors are surrounded her and she's behind the one vehicle, and she places her gun there and she's like, "Okay, I can tell you where everybody is." I'm like, Carol, what are you doing, bitch? What are you doing?
I knew she was gonna. I thought she was gonna pull the assault rifle in the sleeve type of thing, some like move like that. She's gonna pull something and get these guys, and she proved to us that she is due every bit of badassery applause that she gets, because she just freaking keeps on continually not only saving people but also taking people out when they need to be taken out, and doing the right thing. That moment, let's jump back to King Ezekiel and when he's getting away. He gets picked up by Gunther, who I swear to God looked like a freaking really awesome villain. That was a good motif for him. He
was the epitome of a white nationalist.
He was awesome as a villain. I loved his character as a villain. I was like, oh damn.
I told Susan, I said that they're making sure you really do not like this guy. You're waiting for a bullet to go to his head or something else to happen to him. And she said, why do you say that? Because I really do not like this guy. I'm waiting for something horrible. Just by him talking, I just want him dead. I don't care what. So actually, which in turn makes you feel even more sorry for Ezekiel, especially with his busted leg. And I'm like, oh, let this guy die, let this guy die. Every time he was on screen.
So this whole time while Gunther has him, he's repeating these things to King Ezekiel. And they're from an outside perspective, of course. He doesn't necessarily know King Ezekiel. He doesn't know how he cares about his people or anything like that. But he's saying on a surface level, like, you're just a dude, a con man, and things like that. And it starts to really get to King Ezekiel. And that's kind of the undertone of this episode, I feel.
Yeah.
We're starting to see him in different things. And he also had a conversation with Carol in one of the prior scenes prior to everything happening, where he's like, when did you decide to become the person you are? I know when I decided, I had to think about it. I'm doing everything with a purpose, I thought about jumping into the pit and what kind of man I'd be if I didn't, or versus if I did. And so this guy, Gunther's, is totally breaking him down from that perspective that we got from King Ezekiel earlier in the episode. We also see that Carol realizes herself that, she made that decision too after, I forget what her husband's name is, Hank or whatever, was tore up and killed and whatnot.
No, I think she made that decision when everything changed for her was when Sophia was gone. Yeah. When she lost Sophia, that's when everything clicked for
that
her.
Was when all the last part of Carol was gone.
Yeah, old Carol died when Sophia died.
Yeah.
So then she was able to become someone else that was able to survive in the world that they're in.
And it was a good undertone for the whole episode with what they were trying to do with King Ezekiel's character, I felt. Yeah. And I felt like this is a good little arc for King Ezekiel's character, so we get some more substance from him. Because of people like the one I said were complaining about seeing King Ezekiel start off an episode again. Like, why are you complaining? Like, he's doing a good job with this character. I'm really liking it. Mm-hmm. So I like that undertone. I like where they're going with this part with Gunther, carrying him and breaking him down and whatnot. And it gets to the point where Gunther's like, I got to cut my losses here. I tried my best to keep you alive. Can't do it no more. And then we get the part that we were all waiting for.
The ogre.
Huh?
He went full ogre.
Yeah, we finally got to see that axe put into use. Jerry. Jerry put that axe into use, and that was a great shot with the camera, just splitting the body. that was an amazing shot.
Yeah.
Where we get from here is we now have King Ezekiel and Jerry, like, they keep going and they get stuck at a fence, and they're gonna start fighting together. And he keeps telling King Ezekiel, "I'm gonna protect you," and King Ezekiel says, "No, I'm gonna fight beside you."
Yeah.
But there's a point where they're stuck behind a fence, and I guess Jerry's, axe wasn't strong enough to break the padlock. But this is where I wanted to get back to, right? Where Carol's over there making those tactician moves, right, with the guy and behind the car, and she said the standoff, right, the Mexican standoff. And we have this decision where, in the past, when it's hardcore Carol, she might go for the guys, kill the guys, and let everything else just happen, right? But I think that's when she showed that there's also more to her as well. I think.
Well, what got me is that when she first came up on them, the three of them had their back to her. She could have took it out those three and then dealt with the other two that were, on the opposite side. But she could have sprayed those three. The ammo and stuff would never have made it onto the truck. Granted, it serves a purpose why they got onto the truck and why the truck still escaped. But nonetheless, if she was quicker on her feet a little bit, and it shows that they're still, and that's because she was paying attention to what else was going on.
Yeah.
So, and I love who her allies were that she was going to give up. It was basically the couple walkers that she used to get rid of some of the other guys.
Yeah, that was a good move on her, being a tactician. I like that she decided to choose for the lives of Jerry and King Ezekiel. I honestly thought at that point, though...
Oh, no, I'm talking about when she first sees the button to let zombies in, so that way, she can spare shots from the other guys.
I agree with you. She could have... When they started coming in, she could have taken out the other guys. I totally agree with you. I'm right on board with you there. I'm just saying, from that point, I'm glad that we saw Carol make that decision to go for King Ezekiel and Jerry. At that moment, though, I totally felt like this is going to cost other lives. Yeah. That's what I totally thought. But then I remembered to The Talking Dead last week and that scene they showed, and I was like, oh, we haven't seen that scene yet, so that's probably coming up. What'd you think about that? So right in there within all this character development between King Ezekiel, Jerry, and Carol, you have a scene where you got Rick and Daryl tag teaming this Jeep with this truck with a 50 cal on it.
Yeah. Dude, my thing is, the guy who's in the back with the 50 cal, those things are not easy to put together on a quick, especially while one guy's driving and the other guy's got to shuffle that thing. That thing's not a one-man gun unless you're like 280 pounds of muscle.
Did you see how long it took for them to put it away?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It took all three of them.
And he got it put together so fast.
It took three of them to take it apart and put it into cases and take it to the truck. 3 guys, which is typical for a 50 cal. It takes about 3 guys to operate that thing.
Yeah.
But him out of nowhere, Rick and Daryl chasing me. Let me just mount it right here and all by myself while the other guy's driving at full speed.
And swerving.
And had enough time to load it with a belt.
Yeah.
And then unload on both Rick and Daryl.
Yeah, I thought that was a little...
That was a far-fetch.
No, yeah, it was. It was a little tongue-in-cheek, but I was like, I'm going to let it go. We're talking about the living dead are around us. I mean, this is something I can let go, right? So, I like the scene. I like their team up when they're going back and forth, and Rick pulls out, and Daryl comes and shoots the dude and whatnot, and Rick stabs him and everything. I think at this point they left off on a point where we can talk about what's going on next week a little later in this episode. But at this point we go back to Carol and Jerry and King Ezekiel, and King Ezekiel is still feeling the effects of being injured, kind of almost being broken down, and seeing all of his kingdomers, or whatever you want to call them, being killed right in front of them or sacrificing themselves for him. And you get to this point where he gets like taken aback by these walkers that have been waiting around in corrosive material.
I call them the sludge walkers because that's what they look. They look like sludge.
Yeah.
They were all...
Yeah. And so he's like essentially ready to be captain with the ship and go down with the ship. And because it almost felt like to me, I took it as like almost like he had gotten broken into the point where he doesn't feel like he deserves to survive.
I looked at it more like he's got a bum leg. He's by himself. He doesn't have, at this point, he doesn't have Shiva. And
yeah, right, you're right.
I said at this point. And
Yeah.
then he wants the two people that are with him to still go on.
Survive.
He knows that if they at least get back to the kingdom, at least he knows it's in good hands with Gary and Carol. So he figures, all right, I'm making my stand here. I'll take as many as I can. Just get out of here. Just get out of here.
Yeah, I also got that feeling though that he just wanted to be captain with the ship. Like he was having survivor's guilt.
If going down with the ship means you're going down with the kingdom, which means you're going down.
Well, with the warriors that died, I felt like he had a little bit of the survivor's guilt from that little incident right there where the 50 cal took him all out, and they risked their lives to save him. You know, I took it as a little survivor's guilt right there.
Well.
But we get to this part, and we have seen a scene that we were expecting sometime, and we got it. Shiva jumps in, gives them some time, takes out some walkers, sends them flying, but it is only to Shiva's demise. But she saves the three of them.
I'm a little disappointed in that.
Like how so?
Well, because it was too much like the panels in the comic. And I wish that, come on, I don't care. Walkers, yes, they're gonna outnumber her, but she should have taken out a lot more than just one or two.
She took out like I would say anywhere from 2 to 4.
She took out the one, and then the other two that she took, which she threw over the mound, and then the other ones were just like down at her feet. But other than that, then she got swarmed heavily.
I don't know how many she took out with like headshots. I'm saying I don't know how many, but I know she took out one for sure with a headshot, the first one, and then she hit like 3 of them. And I doubt those are taken out or whatever. But yeah, that was a scene where I was like, no, but it has to happen.
Yeah, I still think she could have swatted a couple more because those paws alone should have been enough to rip off some of those sludge zombies.
Funny thing is, I was doing some research. I wasn't doing research. I was reading about tigers because I love tigers. This is a few weeks back, and there was one thing that was saying
a couple away. I'm
assuming those are dead or dead, you know.
Yeah, but
last name Evans, not Evans. Kari, whatever. Rhodes Evans.
Cyborg.
Yeah. I felt like he did a good job right there, though, in that scene, in that moment. I liked what he did.
Yeah.
I liked how he responded to it. And it was sad to see him respond like that. And so we got that, what we were expecting. They get back to the kingdom, and everybody sees them arrive, and it's only the 3 of them, so everybody's assumption is the worst, which is he touches the boy, which is the son of, he touches his shoulder, and I'm assuming that was the son of Daniel, the flat top guy that he turned over, one of the first ones he turned over. After
but you forget at the beginning of the episode, he told that kid,
you're brave because you're brave.
Right. Don't ever forget that, to be brave means you are brave.
Yeah. And that's so, oh man.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where we're getting to this point, though. We have to see some of this stuff happen, so I'm happy we are. I'm very happy we are.
Well, I got the 3 deaths that I told you about 2 weeks ago.
So yeah, well, we got Shiva.
Yeah. We got out of the 3 groups, we got the death that we were perceiving. The only one that didn't work out in my favor.
Shiva.
And
who else?
Our season 1 returnee was the 3rd one.
Oh yeah, Morales. But that was really anticlimactic when he got killed.
Yeah, exactly. But I told you there'd be a death in each of those 3 sections of story that we were paying attention to. I thought it was going to be more major character death instead of Morales, but
I thought they were going to give Morales a little bit more than that, but they didn't. Yeah. So from here on out, we both watched the Talking Dead afterwards, and we saw the scene for next week, which is focusing on Gabriel and Negan inside the trailer.
The return of Negan.
Yeah, and so we're gonna finally get some Negan back in this season's episodes. I'm looking forward to that, to seeing what he does to him to get out of there. Gabriel, he gets taken down, but he doesn't look too scared. You know what I mean? He looks like he's ready for whatever Negan's gonna do.
And he's accepted the fact that.
Yeah, he's accepted the fact that he's like, I'm not scared of you. I get it that you're gonna do something probably, but I'm not gonna like whimper. I think we've seen a lot of courage from Gabriel. There was a point a season or two ago where he was almost turncoat. Remember?
Yeah.
And he's grown a lot, I think. So I'm looking forward to that interaction. What else? What else are you looking forward to next season? Next week?
I'm hoping if they're bringing back Negan and Gabriel that we finally see where the fuck Eugene is, because he was the other one.
Well, did you see the little clip after the episode? It shows Stephen Ogg, like interrogating Dwight, Eugene, and
yeah, when they're asking for they're saying that somebody from the inside had to tell them this information. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Here's what next week's episode is called: "The Big Scary You." Here's what it says, summary-wise. A close look at Negan and the lives of the Saviors during the conflict through a familiar set of eyes. So it's going to be probably from Eugene's viewpoint, I bet.
No, I think we're going to see it through Dwight's eyes.
Dwight's eyes?
I think so, because I think this is the episode that solidifies Dwight as being on the side of Rick and Daryl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're going to be seeing it from his eyes, not Eugene. Because why would we need to see it from Eugene's when we already know who he is?
Well, maybe to redeem him, but in the picture they have a picture of Eugene. That's why I said that.
Yeah, I don't think.
Maybe they're just trying to throw us a curveball.
Because the picture I saw on AMC for next week was Dwight, full face shot.
Yeah, well, the first picture on IMDb for the episode.
See, you're looking on IMDb, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But on the actual AMC.com/Walking Dead, the preview picture for the episode where I clipped it because I want to use it for next week's episode is of Dwight with a greenish background.
So. Well, I mean, it would make sense if they focus on Dwight, so like you said, we can solidify where he stands.
Yeah.
For the viewer, at least, because I don't think we're at that point where he's going to come out and say what he's done.
Yeah.
Or what side he's on, but I think he's still going to do a few things behind the scenes. Do you think we're going to get any deaths of any characters that we can name? Characters that we can name.
If Gabriel makes it through the episode alive, then no. Because he's the only one I can think of that is next on the line. Yeah. Unless they throw us a curveball and then suddenly out of nowhere we're back to Jesus and the crew. And, you know, they tease something. Because they still...
I wonder, go ahead.
They still got a couple prisoners left to take back to...
Yes. And we're still waiting to see where did Morgan go.
And I'm still waiting for somebody to get hung.
Huh?
I'm just still waiting for somebody to get hung.
That too. Yeah. So there's some options. I wonder if we see anybody die that's someone we can name. It might be Gabriel at this point.
That's who I'm saying, if anybody.
Yeah. But they could also use him to try to be turncoat again and try to get some information. I don't know if he'll do it, though.
No,
I think
because sooner or later, there has to be a point where Negan's going to end up in a box. And you know what I mean by that. So.
Yes, I know what you mean. So,
and I think this may be the starting point of him being in that box. So.
Okay. Yeah, it was a good episode overall, though. I was happy with it. I'm looking forward to going back to some of these other characters next week, especially the Negan side of things.
And keep in mind, we're almost at the halfway mark.
Yeah, that was episode 4.
So
yeah, so we have 4 more.
We're getting close to. We're at the halfway of the halfway.
First half. Yeah, we're at the quarter season mark.
Yeah, so we got to keep in mind we also have to do the flash forwards that started the whole season.
Yeah.
So we got to keep in mind that that's coming to us sooner or later. Just got to remember when.
I'm looking forward to it all. I'm liking to see where this season is going, and I like that they're doing some of the flashback stuff, kind of giving us everything that's going on during this one day instead of just skipping over a bunch of stuff. We're getting all of the meat of this thing, you know? Because that's the one thing I was wondering about. In the comic books, it's easy to kind of have the war carry on for multiple pages or issues, which feels like multiple days or weeks or whatever, you know? But in this TV show, it kind of feels like they kind of have to do it in a 1 or 2 day span. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like... It feels like they're putting it longer just for TV purposes.
Well, I don't think it was just 1 or 2 days. Cause think about it. After the attack,
I'm just saying, as of right now, they're still over the span of a few hours right now, right? Over a handful of hours.
That's what we're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't know how, because we don't know how long it took them to walk from where they picked up the prisoners to the hilltop.
Well, no, they haven't gone to nighttime yet. It hasn't gone to nighttime yet.
I understand, but keep this in mind. It could be a warped perception of time on our part, where we don't see night. A couple nights have passed, and they got to the hilltop by daytime.
That's a possibility, but I'm gonna still think that it's only been a handful of hours.
But keep in mind, what could be a handful of hours, you know, the attack by the kingdom they get slaughtered and what have you, and Rick chasing the guns down. That's all a couple hours, but the prisoners going from that area to the hilltop could be a couple days.
Yeah, because they're on foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I like that they're showing us all the meat of everything going on, because it would kind of be like that. Some people probably don't want to see this, but they don't realize. Like, I think people wouldn't realize what they'd be missing of all the strategy that takes place to get this to happen. You know. So, any last words, Lynn, before we sign off?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, this was a good episode. Can you say goodbye, Lynn?
Goodbye, Lynn.
Thank you guys for joining us. Stay tuned for our podcast on Thursday, coming at you guys at around 4:30 Pacific. Lynn's time 7:30 Eastern, give or take.
Used to be 7.
Yeah.
Now it's like 7:30, 7:40.
Well, it's supposed to be like 7. It was supposed to be like 4:10, 7.
Well, it was originally supposed to be like 6:30 my time.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that, you guys. Thank you for joining us this week. Stay tuned next week for another after show of The Walking Dead. That one will be called The Big Scary You. We look forward to watching and sharing our thoughts